Johnny, obviously runners from all over the state of North Carolina were involved in today's Boston Marathon. More than 450 runners were listed from North Carolina, including more than 80 from the Charlotte area, about 70 from Raleigh and Durham, 28 from the Triad area of Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and High Point, as well as 9 runners listed from Wilmington. This evening, those explosions in Boston still reverberated with Charlotte area runners and attendees in Boston, along with affected athletes here at home. Seen in this picture Monday morning, Mike Begay and his fellow Charlotte Running Club teammates were excited to start the Boston Marathon. But after Begay and thousands of others finished the 26-mile race, joy and excitement turned to chaos and fear.
Definitely a little unnerving to see it occur at this event.
About an hour after crossing the finish line, Begay was in his hotel 2 blocks away when he was startled by the sounds.
We heard a large bang, and it sounded like somebody rolling a suitcase across the floor upstairs, and then we heard a second.
Nearby at a restaurant also just blocks from the finish line, Jill Stevens of Charlotte felt a jolt.
We heard like 2 big bang, loud explosions, and nobody knew what was going on.
Stevens was in Boston to cheer on a friend who ran the marathon, but found herself in the middle of the criminal investigation.
Terrifying, and then they finally decided, well, at first they put us on lockdown in the restaurant, but then they decided to evacuate the restaurant.
Monday evening, many Charlotte runners who weren't at the race were still talking about the effect on the sport.
It's always been a good sport, and now you have somebody trying to ruin that. It makes you wonder what would happen in other places with other events.
This group hoped the attack in Boston won't scare off inspiring marathoners to compete in upcoming events.
Boston is everybody's goal. They want to qualify for Boston. Once they've done Boston, that's a big part of their lives. And, you know, something like this really puts a dent into those dreams. And again, more than 450 North Carolinians participated in the 2013 Boston Marathon, affecting the runners, their families, and loved ones in nearly every pocket of the state. Reporting in the Charlotte newsroom, Brad Broders, News 14, Carolina.
I still to this day question how I'm absolutely untouched.
Demi Clark was set to finish the Boston Marathon.
I'd run a great race and was ready to celebrate.
But celebration turned to chaos feet from the finish line as Clark in the yellow heard and felt the first of the 2 bombs.
The blast went off to my left, and you see everything after that, just absolute chaos and mayhem.
The 36-year-old Fort Mill runner crossed the finish line and immediately started searching for her loved ones, fearing the worst.
Terror and panic as I worry about my own family who's in the stands. We thought anything could blow up at any moment.
After a nerve-wracking few seconds filled with trauma and lingering smoke, Clark reunited with her husband and 2 daughters.
Once we all got to each other, just sobbing, it was like the world stopped. And then at the same time, my husband saying, "We're getting out of here right now."
Since Clark was a top charity fundraiser, her family sat in VIP seats across from the public seating where the bombs detonated.
Way too many coincidences to really want to sit around and count, but just so thankful and grateful that we're okay, but then thinking of everyone who isn't.
Clark said surviving the Boston attack after being so close to so much catastrophe is still difficult to process.
I mean, there were nails at my feet, BBs and glass, and I don't know how I didn't even get a cut. So I have to live with that now. So, and what do you do with that? You know, where do you take that?
Brad Broders, News 14, Carolina.